Thank you. A very good afternoon and a very warm welcome to each and every one of you again this afternoon. Um, Maybe just firstly, I know that our previous speakers have gone a little over time, but I think it was very important that we listen to some of the challenges, the real key challenges that our officials face on a daily basis, and uh, and for us as engineers, looking at those numbers and the actual problems that are being faced with, it was we are aware of them, but to see them and to be reminded of them again, I think it was very useful. And just to echo what Chris has said is to both the officials and any other clients that are listening in, if there is assistance that is required through CESA or through our member firms, you must please feel free to touch base with us. Also, having said that, I'm going to try and focus on some of I think, the more important parts of my address. We are limited with time, as I said, which is fine. I don't have really any problem with that. And some of the slides I'll skip through quite quickly. So please forgive me for doing that. Yeah, so last year, as we said, was an unprecedented year with COVID-19, and fortunately, from all of that chaos and the problems that we had, I think it focused our leaders and the decision makers in the country of coming up with a plan that's going to see us going forward and really getting ourselves out of the situation that we find ourselves in. And obviously, that is the economic reconstruction and recovery plan. And what heartens us as engineers is that this plan is really going to be focused on infrastructure and the development of infrastructure as the key to spurring economic growth and for the future. So I was going to look quickly at what we had done as CESA through 2020. I'm not going to spend too much of time on this slide, but just pick up on a couple of key issues. And the first one there is really around the work that we did last year in strengthening the relationship between ourselves and government, the various departments at municipal, provincial, and at national level. We made great strides last year, and we continue to do that. But I think there are obviously still areas where we misunderstand each other and perhaps we talk past each other. So that is an ongoing focus and a key area of that we have at CESA pay a lot of attention to and put a lot of energy into. Through the Sustainable Infrastructure Development Symposium and the program last year, part of that manifested in the Economic Reconstruction and Recovery Plan. And we were very fortunate at CESA that we were invited to be part of that. And so we gave our contributions to that program. I think some of the continued challenges that we see, and these things come up year in and year out, and it's been the same for the last few years. I think it's around public decision-making processes and really the demise around that. A lack of checks and balances within procurement systems, and we're seeing increasingly a lack of and a loss of accountability of those tasked with leading change. And I think because of that, for much of last year, and even that this theme has continued this year, is this issue around building a capable state. And again, it's something that the president has put front and center. And again, it's something that we've been advocating for through CESA for a long time now. And we must understand, though, that there are pockets of excellence within the state. So when we say these things, it's more in a general statement across most of our state departments. But we're not saying that all of our departments are struggling or that they are not sufficiently capable or resourced. It's as a general sort of comment. Our previous speaker has mentioned the issue around the construction mafia and the local business forums. It's an ongoing problem. And it's really also disheartening when we do have projects that go into construction and then and we're so looking forward to getting these projects commissioned, and we're faced with these difficulties. So it was not all bad news last year. In our address and in my address last year, my theme was reflection, renewal, and regeneration. Because also last year already we had seen those green shoots emerging around areas where the renewal was happening. Some of the regeneration efforts were happening. I think one of those key ones was the Renewable Energies Program, BUD 4, now BUD 5, the emergency program. All of those programs are coming on stream again. I think the State Capture Commission and really trying to tackle some of the deep-seated corruption issues was also really a positive development. And we hope out of that we can get to a place where a lot of the sort of nonsense that happened, we can get to the bottom of it and ensure that we have better systems and processes in place so that these things don't happen going forward. And then finally, I think also we saw last year that there was this focus on people over profit. I think there was that coming together of people, and even we saw that in the industry, obviously to try and deal with the health crisis. And we're hoping that this spirit of Ubuntu will continue through 2021. And it's really what we as CESA we are aiming to promote in the industry. To protect lives, to protect livelihoods, and really to consider the social and economic outcomes of the work that we as engineers do. So let's focus on 2021, and my theme for 2021 is rebuilding with purpose. We are getting into the stage where we're going into a massive rebuilding program. We're hoping that that's going to be fast-tracked and come online soon. But as we embark on this rebuilding program, how do we do this with purpose, and really looking at how can we make this more meaningful to all the intended recipients? And I want to start off on maybe a more philosophical note. And we've seen this in the US recently, that democracy and democracies are really precious and fragile, and they do indeed need to be nurtured, and they become less and less meaningful to those members of our society that are stuck in poverty with no access to basic services and with no opportunities. So as we embark on this massive rebuilding project, let us try to rebuild in a conscious and more mindful manner, so that the rebuilding is not only about providing infrastructure, but that it is consciously engineered to address poverty, to address inequality, and to address unemployment. And us as engineers, as consulting engineers, as engineers working in the municipal space, in government departments, we really have the power to influence the outcomes of and to influence those areas that I spoke about through the work that we do. And it's a call to all of us as engineers to bring that thinking more and more into the work that we do. Obviously, the vaccine rollout is going to take a lot of resources, and we need to be patient and understanding as resources are going to be diverted to fund this rollout program. We've made our services available. I think it really is a one massive project management exercise. And whilst we can't assist in the sort of health related aspects, excuse me, we can most certainly help in terms of planning, project management, logistics management, and the like. So we have made our skills available through BUSA and Business for SA and the like. I think also the way we go forward and the way we start rolling out our infrastructure is really going to help us to create this legacy, and not focus on too much on short-term benefits and temporary structures. And I think if we carefully plan what we're going to do, the resources that we are currently utilizing for short-term interventions, they can be used to develop long-term solutions. And out of this, our legacy really must be that we strengthen the social compact. and the previous speaker mentioned as well, how do we address the bigger societal issues? How does the state and society, the private sector, all of the interested parties, how do we work together for inclusive growth so that we strengthen the social compact and so that we can make a meaningful impact on the communities that we serve? And one of those things I think we need to look at is really greater community involvement in the work that we do. Um, so both in terms of communities as the end users, but also as communities being part of the infrastructure delivery program. How do we use those projects to create employment opportunities during the infrastructure delivery program? So this means fully embracing the concept of saving lives and livelihoods into everything that we do. And we've said on a number of occasions that effective local government is critical if we are to achieve success in this area. And this is one area where we are really struggling. And it really needs to be fixed as a matter of extreme urgency. And again, ladies and gentlemen, I say this with a broad brush approach, acknowledging that there are many pockets of excellence. And we could see the work that the city of Polokwane is doing in terms of their planning, how they're going about doing this, and how they are really hamstrung without access to funding to further some of their programs. So as part of that also, we are cautiously optimistic about the district development model. We started engaging with COPTA already to try and understand the details of the model, but it's also as an area that we as CESA, I think we can that we can assist and support that program. I think also that we really need to rethink our spatial planning and the pressing need for development in these more rural areas. And again, we saw it on the Polokwane presentation. When you've got 70% of the area that you need to service that is rural and it's far flung and it's spread out, the cost of providing infrastructure to those areas becomes really excessive. And we need to look at ways of bringing infrastructure there in a cost effective manner, looking at technology and solutions that are suitable for the areas that we're looking at. But also in saying that now, how can we look at development in those more rural areas and really put less emphasis on development in the metros? Most of us are working from home. We're teleconferencing. We don't need to get into these large cities and these large office developments and things like that. So there is an opportunity now to take services to our rural communities and develop around where those communities are actually working and where they're spending most of their time. Agriculture has been one of the better performing sectors in the economy. And if services can be decentralized to those communities, it will also relieve pressures on the metros and the cities. And there are obviously many benefits to this type of approach. Smaller scale farmers can be supported, food security can be enhanced, and local communities can be gainfully employed in the construction and maintenance activities that are going to be taking place close to where they live. And we spoke about maintenance as well, and we've touched on that. We've seen with the CESA infrastructure report card, the quality and the performance of our infrastructure has been deteriorating, and it's because we are not spending enough on maintenance. So it's really bringing those maintenance activities, putting more focus into them, and then our communities benefiting from those activities. I'm sorry. So really, I think for this rebuilding to happen effectively, we need collaboration between all spheres of government. We need coordination between all the role players, and we need really to partner to build state capacity and ensure that the necessary skills development takes place. Also recently, you would have seen that professionalization of the public service has been in the spotlight as government strives to improve the skills of public servants. and the role of the state in producing skilled professionals. It's something that we as CESA wholeheartedly support. And again, we stand ready to support this initiative in any which way that we can. Also, when we consider the opportunities for rebuilding, we need to not forget the importance of our workforce in the profession. We want to see more mentoring of young people in the industry. We want to retain the skills that we are losing to immigration and through and to other professionals, because these young people are going to build the future and they are going to see the innovation that we need going forward. Also, through CESA, we want to see a focus on transformation. We've seen a great success in our industry over the last few years, and we will continue to encourage diversity and inclusion within the profession. So, how do we rebuild with purpose? We all agree that the pace of change, the pace of our infrastructure programs is very slow at the moment. So we need to see speed in the infrastructure development plan, although it must be done carefully or it will fuel corruption. And our stance of zero tolerance toward corruption is well known and remains one of our most prominent agendas. So let us maintain our focus and purpose in our rebuilding efforts on doing so with quality and integrity. If we are to truly save lives and livelihoods, we must operate with an unwavering focus on reliability, on value, and on sustainability. Our emphasis on quality has further been highlighted by our mandated management systems for our member firms. And these systems are based on international standards for quality, for integrity, and for sustainability. So it demonstrates our commitment to accountability, and we need to drive that in our industry if you hope to see that reflected in the public sector, and if we want to demand that from the public sector. Added to this, the draft public procurement bill has seen industry lobby for a more transparent procurement process with decentralized authority structures to ensure the necessary checks and balances are in place. And we call on our policy makers to listen to the voices of industry and to ensure that the bill promotes integrity, localization, transparency, and accountability. So I am coming to the end now. Our identified SIPs will play a great role in economic recovery if and only if they can break ground. We have seen some of those projects starting off, but getting a few more of those projects off the ground will be valuable in giving impetus to the program, in providing reassurance to the public, and encouraging investment confidence in the country. It will most certainly be an immune booster to our ill economy. In terms of our recovery as well, our infrastructure in Daba is scheduled for later in the year. And we are sure to see some constructive engagements with multi-level stakeholders and high-level decision makers, which should aid in coordinating recovery within the industry and with the state. We also welcome the formation of Construction Alliance South Africa. We will support this initiative. We are a founding member of CESA, and we're hoping that this will provide further industry coordination, which is much needed for achieving our national recovery plans. So as CESA, we are committed to contributing to effective and sustainable solutions, and we will continue to guide our members and the industry at large towards more transparent and prosperous infrastructure delivery processes. We all stand to benefit from this goal, which would see improved use of taxpayers' money, an appropriately capacitated state, and the delivery of safe and reliable national infrastructure, which will offer a strong foundation for further economic growth. However, as our Minister for Public Works and Infrastructure said at our last infrastructure in Daba, we need to start implementing as the patience of our people is running out. Indeed, the preservation and deepening of our precious democracy will depend entirely on the success of our recovery. Our task is not easy, and the road ahead is going to be bumpy. But regardless of those challenges, CESA will continue to actively engage through the relevant platforms and to remain your partner in enabling consulting engineering excellence. So thank you. I've gone through the presentation quite quickly, but hopefully it gives us a little bit of time to engage through the Q&A session. So thank you very much again.